Sometimes the loudest "I miss you" is the silence they never expected. That's it. That's the moment everything changes. Not when they text you, not when they finally say, "I'm sorry." The real shift begins when your silence starts to work on them. And the first thing that happens is simple. They regret losing you, even if their ego is still pretending not to care. My friends, if that already hits you in the chest, you're in the right place. This video is called "When Your Silence Starts Working, This Happens First. They Regret Losing You." Stoicism for a reason. We're not here to play games. We're here to understand the psychology behind your silence and why it's not weakness, it's power. Hey folks, imagine this. You're a lighthouse, steady, calm, shining every single night. And there's this one ship that keeps using your light, relying on your glow to avoid crashing, but never really respecting it. One day, that ship decides, I don't need that lighthouse anymore. They sail off like they're untouchable. So what do? You don't chase the ship, you don't swim after it. You simply keep shining in your own direction. At first, that ship is laughing, playing music, flexing on the waves. See? I'm fine without that light. But then the weather changes, the sea gets dark, the sky gets cloudy, and suddenly that same ship starts thinking, wait, where did that light go? That, right there, is what happens when your silence starts working. They thought your calls, your texts, your care, your presence were just noise, just something that would always be there. They thought you would always be the one reaching out, checking in, apologizing first, keeping things alive. They confused your patience with weakness and your softness with dependence. But Stoicism teaches something different. Silence is not empty, it is full of answers. When you finally stop explaining yourself, when you stop chasing, when you stop begging someone to see your worth, your silence becomes a mirror. And the first thing that mirror shows them is not how strong they are without you, but how much of their strength was actually borrowed from your presence. At the start, they act like nothing has changed. They laugh louder, they post more, they pretend they're living their best life. But here's the truth nobody tells you. Regret doesn't show up publicly at first. It shows up in private. It shows up when they're about to sleep and suddenly think of you. It shows up at a red light when a song you used to love together comes on. It shows up when they open their phone and realize there's no good morning message from you anymore. They won't admit it, but the first thing your silence does is disturb their comfort. It shakes the little story they told themselves. They'll always be there. And yes, we're going to talk about all of that in this video. What they think, how their ego fights it, how your silence flips the power, and most importantly, how you can stay calm, grounded, and unbothered like a true Stoic while all of this is happening. So stay with me, my friends. Don't click away. Don't skip out on your own growth. You didn't come here by accident. You came because some part of you is tired of feeling like your silence means you lost. By the end of this, you'll see the truth. Your silence is not the end of your story. It's the beginning of your power. If you're ready to claim that, type this in the comments right now. My silence is power. Write it down, press the like button, hit subscribe, and stay with me. We're just getting started. Number 1. The shift you don't see, where regret actually begins. Regret doesn't start when they say, "I'm sorry." It starts the first time they miss you and lie to themselves about it. My friends, that one stings because it's true. We are told that regret is loud, dramatic, obvious. We think we'll see it in a long paragraph, a late-night confession, a nervous call. But that is not where it begins. When your silence starts working, the first shift happens in a place you will never see with your own eyes, inside their mind, inside their chest. when no one else is watching. Imagine this for a second. Picture them as a movie actor who just finished the scene. The camera turns off, the lights dim, everyone claps, and they walk off set looking confident. They laugh, take selfies, post stories, pretend life is perfect. But then they go back to their dressing room, close the door, and for the first time, it's quiet. No lights, no audience, just them and their thoughts. That's where your silence walks in, not like a hammer, like a whisper. At first it comes in small questions. Why am I thinking about them right now? Why did that song make me feel weird? Why did my stomach flip when I saw their name? They don't call it missing you. No, their ego wraps it up in excuses. I'm just bored. I just wondered how they are. It's nothing. But deep down, something is starting. A tiny pull. A little crack in the story they told themselves about how easy it would be to live without you. You might be sitting there thinking, if they regret it, why don't they show it? Why do they still look so happy? That's the lie we've been trained to believe, that if someone is not showing pain, they must not feel it. But folks, think about your own life. How many times were you hurting and still smiling? How many times were you breaking inside while telling everyone, I'm fine? They do the same thing. Regret is shy at the beginning. It hides behind jokes. It hides behind new people. It hides behind, I don't care. There's a quote I love. The heart always knows first. The mind just takes longer to admit it. When your silence starts working, their heart knows before their mouth ever will. They feel strange when they realize you haven't checked in. They feel a pinch when they go a whole day without your name popping up. They feel a hollow spot where your attention used to be. But pride comes in and says, nope, we're not going there. We're good. We're strong. We moved on. So now there's a war inside, their truth versus their ego, and you're not there to see it. All you see is the highlight reel, the new posts, the laughs, the I'm living my best life energy. But behind those small squares on a screen, there's a different story. They're lying in bed at night, staring at the ceiling, thinking, why does it feel like something is missing? They pick up their phone, thumb hovering over your chat, then quickly lock the screen and throw it aside like they're scared of their own feelings. And maybe you've had these thoughts. Maybe they never cared. Maybe I meant nothing. Maybe my silence doesn't matter. That's fear talking. That's trauma talking. That's the part of you that got used to being the one who always did the emotional work. But understand this. When you remove your energy from someone's life, there is always a reaction. People don't realize how much they depended on your calm, your check-ins, your presence, until it goes missing. Think of it like background music in a movie. While it's playing, you don't always notice it. It just holds the scene together. It makes everything feel softer, warmer, more complete. Then suddenly, the music stops. The scene feels colder, awkward, too quiet. That's what your silence does. You were the background music to their chaos. You were the steady beat they assumed would always be there. When you fall silent, the room doesn't just get quieter, it gets real. Why is this stage difficult for them and for you? Because both sides are fighting beliefs. On their side, they were taught that needing you is weak, that admitting they miss you means losing power. So they push it down, distract themselves, keep scrolling, keep pretending. On your side, you were taught that if they are not crawling back, your silence isn't working, that if you can't see the regret, it must not exist. Both of those beliefs are lies. Real regret grows in secret. Real transformation happens behind closed doors. This unseen shift also scares your old self. The version of you that was addicted to proof wants to see screenshots, apologies, big gestures. You want something you can point at and say, "Look, I mattered." But Stoicism asks you to stand in a different place. It asks you to say, "I don't need to see their storm to know my energy had weight." Your silence is not a test for them. It's a training ground for you. Can you hold your peace even when you don't see the outcome yet? Can you trust that stepping back is powerful even when your fear screams, "What if they forget me?" Here's the truth, my friend. People don't forget the person who loved them sincerely. They forget the drama, the noise, the games, but they do not forget the one who brought calm into their chaos, who understood their moods, who gave them a space to be real. They can date 10 other people, post 100 stories, go to 1,000 places, but there's always a moment where something hits and they think, "They wouldn't have treated me like this," or "I could talk about this with them." That's the first layer of regret. It's not a sentence, it's a whisper, but it's there. So yes, this part is silent. There are no fireworks. You don't wake up to a long speech. You don't get to sit front row to their internal conflict. You just feel like the world has gone quiet and you're not sure if anything is happening. But that's where Stoic strength is born. Not in the moments you get external validation, but in the moments you choose not to chase it. While they are secretly fighting their feelings, you are secretly building your foundation. While they scroll and avoid, you breathe and accept. While they run from the truth that they miss you, you walk closer to the truth that you deserve someone who never made you doubt that in the first place. That's what makes this stage sacred. And I want you to hold on to this thought. Just because you can't see their regret doesn't mean your silence is empty. It means your silence is deep. It's working on levels that don't update like a social media feed. Regret is not a notification. It's a realization. It builds slowly until one day it's too loud to ignore. So as we move forward into what happens next, I want you to start telling your nervous system a new story. You are not being ignored. You are being protected. You are not forgotten. You are being redirected. You are not powerless. You are learning a quieter kind of power, the kind that doesn't beg, doesn't chase, doesn't audition for love. If this part spoke to you, if you feel like you're right in the middle of this invisible shift, I want you to declare something for yourself. Type this in the comments right now. I choose my peace. Write it for you. Show yourself. Show them. Show the world around you that you are done begging for what should have been given freely. Stay with me, because what comes next is where things really start to flip. Number 2, pride versus truth, the war inside their chest. Ego says, "I'm fine without you." Truth whispers, "Then why do I still feel them?" My friends, this is where things get messy for them. On the outside, they're cool, they're calm, they're living their life. On the inside, there's a quiet war happening that you will never see, but your silence is the one that started it. When your silence starts working, it doesn't just touch their mind, it shakes their identity, because now their pride and their truth are no longer on the same team. Imagine their inner world like a courtroom. On one side sits pride, wearing a sharp suit, loud, confident, ready to argue. Pride slams the table and says, "We did the right thing. We don't need them. We moved on." On the other side sits truth, quieter, but with eyes that see everything. Truth simply says, "If we're so fine, why do we still think about them at night? Why do we keep checking if they viewed our story? Why does our chest feel heavy when their name comes up?" They wake up in the morning and pride is already talking. Don't you dare think about them. Don't you dare text. You're stronger than that. They were too much anyway. And for a while they manage it. They get up, they get dressed, they post something that screams, "I'm happy without you." But then there's that moment, maybe in the middle of the day, maybe while they're pouring coffee, where a memory just slides in. The way you laughed, the way you listened, the way you made them feel less alone. And truth leans forward and asks, are you really better off, or are you just louder about pretending? You might be thinking, if this war is going on, why don't they just reach out? Why don't they just admit they miss me? Because, folks, most people were never taught how to handle honest emotions. They were taught performance, not vulnerability. They were taught to win, not to feel. Admitting they regret losing you doesn't just mean saying, I miss you. It means facing themselves, facing the way they treated you, facing the fact that they broke something valuable. And for a lot of people, that's terrifying. Think of a kid who breaks a glass and hides the pieces under the rug instead of picking them up. At first, it looks clean. No one sees the mess. But every time they walk over that spot, they feel something sharp. That's what their regret is like right now. They pushed you under the rug of their mind, but every time life steps in that area, something inside them stings. Pride keeps saying, walk it off. But truth is quietly bleeding. They ask themselves questions they'll never admit out loud. What if I misjudged them? What if no one else will understand me like that? What if I'm the one who ruined something real? Those questions feel like betrayal to their ego, so they drown them out with noise, more work, more people, more scrolling, more content. Anything but sitting in silence and honestly acknowledging, I cared. I still care. I messed up. And here's where you often suffer on your side. You look at their page and see the highlight reel. You see the smiles, the trips, the nights out. You tell yourself a painful story. They never loved me. They don't feel anything. I meant nothing. But that's your fear speaking, not reality. You've been conditioned to believe that whoever looks stronger on the surface is winning, that if they're not crying publicly, they must be healed. But appearances are cheap. Even clowns can paint a smile over a broken face. There's a powerful quote that fits here. Just because someone carries it well doesn't mean it isn't heavy. They are carrying the weight of knowing you're not reaching out anymore. They are carrying the weight of your silence when their pride expected you to fold. Whether they show it or not, that weight is there. They may try to laugh it off, but you don't erase genuine connection by pretending it never mattered. This war inside them is also about control. They were used to being the one who dictated the rhythm. They could pull away, and you would step forward. They could go silent, and you would break first. Your silence now has ripped that pattern apart. Pride is furious. Message them just to prove you don't care. Flirt with someone else to prove you're over it. Show them you're fine. Truth, however, keeps repeating, if we were truly fine, we wouldn't be trying this hard to prove it. Why is this stage so complicated for them? Because regret requires humility, and humility is something pride fears like fire. To truly face their regret, they would have to admit they misjudged you, took you for granted, and did not show up the way they should have. They would have to risk you not wanting them anymore. They would have to step into the unknown without guarantees. And their ego hates that risk. It prefers the comfort of denial over the danger of honesty. But here's the important part for you to understand. Just because their ego is louder right now doesn't mean truth isn't working on them. Truth is patient. Truth doesn't need to shout. It just keeps showing them. In every short, shallow connection they try to replace you with, in every moment they realize they can't talk to others the way they talk to you, in every quiet night where the act drops and the mind starts replaying what they lost. That's how truth wins battles that pride thought it already won. On your side, this is where your own growth becomes vital. You can't control that war inside them, but you can control the one inside you. Your ego may be telling you, if they're not confessing their regret, it doesn't exist. Your fear says, if you don't break the silence, you'll lose them forever. But your truth, if you listen closely, says something different. It says, if they only come back when you chase, it isn't real. If they only choose you when you sacrifice yourself, it isn't love. This is the chapter where you stop needing their inner war to validate your worth. You don't need to win against them. You need to win within yourself. The real victory is not hearing them say, I regret losing you. The real victory is reaching a point where, even if they never say it, you know what you brought, you know how you showed up, and you know you were real. You may not see their pride and truth fighting, but trust this. Your silence has started a fire they can't fully put out. They can walk around it, deny it, joke about it, but one day they will have to admit, at least to themselves, I felt something real and I let it go. Whether they act on that or not is their journey, not your responsibility. So, as we move forward, I want you to anchor yourself in a new belief. You are not sitting on the losing side of this story. You are in the process of reclaiming your power, even if it feels slow and painful. Every day you choose not to break your silence just to soothe their ego. You're feeding your own soul instead. If this resonates with where you are right now, if you can feel that war not just in them but maybe in your own heart too, I want you to write this in the comments. I trust my truth. Write it to remind yourself. Show yourself first. Show them if they ever see it. Show the world around you that you no longer bow to fear or ego. You are learning to stand with truth, and truth always wins in the end. Stay with me, because next we're going to get even deeper into how they start missing you in ways they'll never dare to admit. Number 3. The private ritual of missing you. People rarely miss you in public. They miss you in the quiet places they hope no one ever sees. My friends, this is where things get sneaky. When your silence starts working, they don't suddenly fall on the floor, crying, posting quotes about heartbreak. That's movie stuff. Real life is far quieter and, honestly, far more interesting. In real life, missing you becomes their secret habit, their hidden routine, their private ritual. Imagine their mind like a browser with 10 tabs open: work, friends, new people, social media, music, memes. All of that is what the world sees. But there's always that one tab sitting quietly in the background, never fully closed. That tab is you. They click away from it all day, but they never really exit it. And when the day slows down, when distractions run out, that's the tab their mind drifts back to. They won't call it missing you. Oh no, pride won't allow that. Instead, they dress it up in softer excuses. I'm just curious how they're doing. I'm only checking their page because it popped up. I'm just rereading this chat because it was funny. But deep down, my friends, they are feeding a feeling they don't want to admit is still alive. That's what a ritual is. Something you do over and over, quietly, even when you pretend it doesn't matter. They pick up their phone, scroll through social media, and suddenly find themselves on your profile. Again, they tap your picture, zoom in a little too long, scan your captions for clues. Are you sad? Are you happy? Have you moved on? Did someone else notice what they took for granted? They might even go back to old conversations, not always the deep ones, sometimes the silly ones. The inside joke, the late-night voice note, the random photo you sent of your day. Something about it pulls at them, but they quickly shut it down, lock the phone, put it face down. Whatever, it's nothing. And then they do it again tomorrow. You, on your side, might be asking yourself hard questions. If they're checking, why don't they talk to me? If they miss me, why are they so quiet? If I meant something, why am I the only one feeling this? That's where the lie lives. The lie that says, if you can't see someone's feelings, they don't exist. But think about your own history. How many times did you stalk their profile, reread old chats, stare at their name, and still not say a word? You missed them, but you didn't move. They're doing the same thing. There's a quote that fits this stage. The bravest thing is to feel deeply in a world that rewards pretending. Most people never learned how to handle their feelings honestly. They learned how to hide. So when they start missing you, they don't make a healthy move. They make a secret ritual. They keep you as a ghost in their life, always there, never fully welcomed in. They might screenshot a memory and never send it. They might hover over the message button and then back out. They might play a song you once shared and skip it halfway because it hurts too much. Is it dramatic? No. Is it real? Very. What makes this part so painful for you is that you're not allowed to see it. You only see the surface, and the surface usually lies. You see the posts with friends, the selfies, the living my best life energy. You see them ignoring your stories or not liking your pictures anymore. You see the silence and think, they feel nothing. But their ritual happens off-screen, and your silence is the reason it exists at all. Think of it like this. You were once their favorite song. They played you all the time, but maybe they took it for granted. One day that song disappears from their playlist. They can't click it the way they used to, and at first they shrug it off. No big deal, there are other songs. But every once in a while, their mind hears the melody anyway, in the shower, on the bus, while they're cooking, and suddenly they're humming along to something they pretend they don't remember. That's what you are now, a familiar tune in a life they tried to edit you out of. Why do they keep it private? Because admitting they miss you out loud would mean facing their choices. If I miss them, why did I let them go? If I still feel something, why did I treat them like they were replaceable? Those questions are heavy. Pride is allergic to them, so instead of facing those questions, they keep the ritual hidden. They check, they look, they think, they replay, but always in secret. And here's where you need to rise higher. You can't live your life waiting for their secret ritual to turn into visible action. You can't put your healing on pause while you hope their pride will one day lose the fight. Your job is not to sit there thinking, are they thinking about me right now? Your job is to ask, what am I doing with my own thoughts right now? While they are missing you in silence, you have a choice. You can also stalk, obsess, sit in the same loop, or you can turn this into your own ritual of growth. Instead of checking if they watched your story, you check in with yourself. Instead of rereading old messages, you write new ones to your future. Plans, goals, things that bring you to life. Instead of wondering if they regret it yet, you focus on becoming the person who no longer needs their regret to feel valuable. The private ritual of missing you is their classroom, but your silence is your training ground. You are learning to sit with uncertainty without chasing answers. You are learning that you can still be loved, still be valuable, still be powerful, even while someone else is quietly realizing what they lost. You may never see their late-night scrolling. You may never know how many times they hovered over your name. You may never hear about the lump in their throat when your face flashes in their mind out of nowhere. But you don't need to. You are not here to manage their conscience. You are here to protect your peace. So, my friends, as we move deeper into this journey, I want you to stop begging your mind for evidence that they miss you. Some feelings are real even when they leave no visible proof behind. Let them have their secret rituals. Let them battle their silence. You focus on building a life that doesn't pause just because someone else decided to wake up late. If this spoke to you, if you know in your gut that there's more going on behind the scenes than you can see, I want you to write this in the comments right now. I release the need to know. Write it for you. Show yourself your own growth. Show them if they ever come across it. Show the world around you that you're done waiting for proof and ready to move in faith. Stay with me, because next we'll go even deeper into how your silence becomes a mirror they can't escape, no matter how hard they try to act unbothered. Number 4. Your silence becomes their mirror. Silence doesn't protect people from the truth. It just takes away their excuses for ignoring it. My friends, this is where your silence becomes more than just no contact. It becomes a reflection, a mirror, a screen where their own behavior plays back to them in HD, whether they like it or not. Because when you stop talking, when you stop explaining, defending and chasing, they're no longer looking at your reactions, they're forced to look at themselves. And for someone who has spent their whole life hiding behind noise, that reflection can be terrifying. Imagine they've been walking around with a smudge on their face. For the longest time, you were the one who gently pointed it out. Hey, this isn't okay. Hey, this hurt me. Hey, something's wrong here. They'd brush it off. You're too sensitive. You're overreacting. It's not that deep. They weren't listening to understand. They were listening to defend. But once your silence arrives, there's no one left to blame, no one left to argue with, no one left to gaslight. All that's left is a mirror, and that mirror is the emptiness where your presence used to be. Your silence says things your words never could. When you stop responding to the same patterns, you're saying, "I've seen this movie before, and I'm not interested in a rerun." When you stop arguing your worth, you're saying, "If you can't see it, I won't waste energy trying to convince you." When you stop chasing answers from someone who avoids the truth, you're saying, "I'm done negotiating my reality." They might tell themselves that you're being dramatic, stubborn, cold. They might talk to their friends and say, "They just cut me off for no reason." But deep down, the mirror is working. Because silence doesn't lie. Silence doesn't twist stories. Silence doesn't play the victim. It just sits there, unbothered, refusing to feed the same old script. And in that stillness, their patterns become crystal clear. There's a quote that fits perfectly here. When you stop playing your role, their story falls apart. That's exactly what's happening. They were used to you being the emotional cushion. You were the apology maker, the peacekeeper, the one who reached out after every fight. You were the reset button. By going quiet, you've taken that role away. Now, when something goes wrong or they feel that deep discomfort, they can't run to your inbox to soothe it. They have to sit with it. Think about how powerful that is. Your silence becomes the first time they're forced to ask themselves, "Why do I keep pushing away the people who care? Why do I act like nothing is my fault? Why do I only realize someone's value when they're gone?" They might not admit those questions out loud. They might cover them with jokes, distractions, or a new person. But once your silence shows them the pattern, they can't unsee it. You, on the other side, might still be tempted to break the mirror. You might feel pulled to send just one more long message, one more explanation, one more "just so you know how I feel." You want them to understand. You want them to get it. But here's the hard truth. They didn't change when you were talking. They start changing when you finally stop. As long as you keep giving them your voice, they can blame your tone, your timing, your words. Once you go quiet, the only thing left to examine is their choices. Your silence is not punishment. It's clarity. It says, "I won't stand in the way of you seeing yourself clearly anymore." That's a gift and a boundary at the same time. You're not trying to destroy them. You're stepping back so life can show them what your mouth couldn't. And life has a way of doing that. The way they treated you will echo. The same carelessness, the same avoidance, the same selfishness will play out with other people, and slowly a pattern will appear. That pattern is the mirror your silence helped build. What makes this stage difficult is that you don't get live updates. You don't get a screenshot of their breakthrough. You don't see the exact moment they look at themselves and think, "I was the problem too." You just have to trust that your withdrawal from the chaos is what allows the truth to breathe. This is where your own Stoic practice comes in. Can you hold your position without needing proof? Can you trust that stepping out of the circus is better for your soul than winning the argument? Because here's the reality, your silence isn't just showing them who they are, it's also showing you who you are. It's proving to you that you're capable of walking away from cycles that do not honor you. It's reminding you that you are not here to be someone's emotional punching bag or their emotional backup plan. You are not the mirror they get to smash when they don't like what they see. You are the person who decided, if you won't respect my presence, you can live with my absence. In time, they'll feel the weight of that absence more deeply than they ever felt your presence. Your silence will become that one thing they can't manipulate or twist. They can argue with your words, they can ignore your calls, they can dismiss your tears, but they cannot control the way your silence makes them notice their own emptiness. That's why it's such a powerful mirror. It reflects not only what they did to you, but what they've been doing to themselves. So, my friends, as your silence sits there quietly reflecting their patterns, I want you to remember something important. You are not responsible for what they do with that mirror. Some people will smash it and run. Others will finally look and grow. Either way, your task is the same. Stay grounded, stay calm, and stay out of any space that requires you to betray your own peace to make someone else comfortable. If this feels like where you are right now, if you know your silence has become a reflection they can't fully escape, I want you to write this in the comments. My silence is my boundary. Write it for yourself. Show yourself you understand your power now. Show them if they ever stumble across it. Show the world around you that you're done using your voice to protect other people's egos and ready to use your quiet to protect your own soul. Stay with me, because next we're going to talk about what happens when that mirror starts to make them restless enough to test the waters, and how you can hold your ground when they do. Number 5. The first test: harmless texts and subtle bait. Most "Hey stranger" texts aren't about you, they're about checking if their ego still works on you. My friends, this is the moment your silence really starts to itch under their skin. Up until now, they've been trying to manage it. They've been pretending they're fine, convincing themselves they're over it, distracting their mind with noise and new faces. But your silence has stayed steady, and now something inside them starts to panic a little. This is where the first test shows up, disguised as something small, innocent, harmless. But trust me, it's anything but harmless. Imagine your silence like a locked door. For a long time, they were used to walking in and out whenever they wanted. They'd push a little, you'd answer. They'd go cold, you'd warm it up. They'd disappear, and you'd chase. Their ego got comfortable thinking that no matter how they behaved, that door would always open. Now, suddenly they try the handle and it doesn't move. No click, no swing, just resistance. And instead of asking, "Why did I treat this door like it didn't matter?" they ask, "How do I get it to open again?" That's when you get the text. You know the one. "Hey, been a while. Hope you're good. Just saw something that reminded me of you, LOL." Or maybe it isn't a text at all. Maybe it's a random reaction to your story. Maybe it's a like on a picture from 3 months ago. Maybe it's them suddenly watching every story you post after weeks of ghosting. On the surface, it looks casual, light, friendly, but let's call it what it is: bait. A tiny emotional hook thrown into the water to see if you'll still bite. And here's where your mind goes wild with questions. What does this mean? Do they miss me? Are they trying to come back? Is this the start of something real? Part of you lights up because, hey, you're human. You waited, you hurt. You wondered if they'd ever notice your absence. And now here they are, knocking in the smallest way possible. Another part of you feels angry. That's it? After everything, just, hey? This confusion is exactly why you need clarity before you respond. Their first test usually isn't about rebuilding anything, it's about reassurance. They want to know if you're still available emotionally, if they still have access, if they can still tug at your energy with the slightest effort and get a big reaction. For them, your response is data. If you jump at the bait, their ego relaxes. I still have them. I didn't really lose anything. They're just waiting. Think of it like a fire alarm test. They're not committing to putting out a burning building. They're just pulling the alarm to see if the system still works. If you come running with old energy, over-explaining, pouring your heart out, asking where they've been, you've just confirmed that your silence was temporary, not transformational. You show them that your boundary was a pause, not a standard. There's a quote that hits hard here. If they can trigger you, they still control you. That's what this phase is really about. Control. Not always consciously, not always maliciously, but energetically. Your silence took away their certainty. This first message, this subtle move, is their way of trying to regain that certainty without having to be fully vulnerable. They want to feel wanted without having to fully show up. And let's be honest, folks, this is where a lot of people break. Not because they're weak, but because they're human and hopeful. You think, maybe this is their way of apologizing. Maybe this is the beginning of them changing. Maybe this is my chance to finally say everything I wanted to say. But remember what we've been building together: stoic strength, emotional intelligence. You're not here to jump at breadcrumbs anymore. So what do you do in this moment? You breathe, you pause, you look at the message not through the eyes of your loneliness, but through the eyes of your self-respect. Is there accountability in what they've said? Is there genuine effort, or just a vague invitation for you to do the emotional heavy lifting again? Are they opening a door, or are they rattling it to see if it's still unlocked? Sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is nothing. Not out of spite, but out of clarity. Silence can be your answer when their words are empty. Other times, if you choose to reply, you respond with calm, not craving. Neutral, not needy. Short, not spilling. You don't overshare. You don't jump into deep emotional talks just because they sent a 2-word text. You let them reveal their real intention over time instead of projecting your hopes onto one small message. Why is this so difficult? Because this is the stage where your old self and your new self collide. The old you wants to sprint towards any sign of attention. The old you wants to fix, explain, reconnect quickly so the discomfort goes away. The new you is learning to sit in that discomfort and ask, is this actually good for me? The new you understands that connection without respect is just emotional self-harm with pretty packaging. This first test is not just about them, it's a test for you too. Are you going to abandon everything you've built in your silence at the first sign of movement? Or are you going to honor the growth, the peace, the clarity you fought for when no one was watching? Remember, you're not the same person who would drop everything for a hey. You're not the same person who lives on standby, waiting for a notification to tell you how to feel. You've been quietly rebuilding your foundation. You've been learning how to be okay on your own. You've started to see your value without needing them to reflect it back to you. So when that harmless little message comes, see it for what it is, a moment to choose, not them, not revenge, but you. You can respond without losing yourself. You can ignore without becoming bitter. You can stay calm without becoming cold. That's real control. That's stoic power. They may not expect this version of you, the one who no longer rushes, the one who doesn't overshare, the one who no longer bleeds for people who only ever show up with band-aids. Your steady response, or your silence, sends a new message back. I'm not living at the end of your leash anymore. If this feels like the chapter you're in, if you've gotten that "it's nothing" message that you know is actually something, I want you to declare a new standard for yourself. Type this in the comments right now. I don't chase crumbs. Write it for your own heart. Show yourself that you're serious about your growth. Show them if life ever puts your words in front of their eyes. Show the world around you that you are done shrinking for small gestures and ready to wait for real effort. Stay with me, because next we're going to shift the focus even more to you. What happens inside you when you stop waiting and start watching from a place of calm power? Number 6, your inner pivot, from waiting to watching. The real turning point isn't when they change, it's when you finally stop waiting for them to. My friends, this is where the story quietly shifts in your favor. Not because they suddenly become a better person, but because you become a different version of yourself. Up until now, a big part of you has been sitting in the waiting room of their decisions, waiting for a message, waiting for an apology, waiting for a sign that your silence is working. You refresh, you replay, you reread. Half your mind is in the present, the other half is stuck in the what if. But then something small happens. Not dramatic, not cinematic, almost boring if you're not paying attention. One morning, you wake up and your first thought isn't about them. You reach for your phone, and instead of checking if they texted, you check the time, your to-do list, a song you want to play. For once, your nervous system doesn't race at the sight of your notifications. That's the pivot. It doesn't arrive with fireworks. It arrives like a quiet click inside your chest. Imagine you've been standing at a train station, watching the tracks, convinced that one specific train is your entire future. Every sound, every announcement, every gust of wind makes your heart jump. Is this it? Are they finally coming? And you stand there for days, months, sometimes years, emotionally speaking. Then one day, you slowly turn your body away from the tracks and look around. You notice there are other trains, other destinations, other paths. You notice you still have legs. You notice you can walk away. That moment when you rotate your attention, that's your inner pivot. Up until this point, their actions have been the weather in your life. If they're warm, you feel safe. If they're cold, you freeze. If they're distant, you spin in anxiety. When your pivot begins, you start asking new questions. Not, what are they doing? What are they thinking? But what am I doing? What am I thinking? What do I want my life to feel like? Those questions are scary at first because they remove the excuse of, I can't move, until they do. Now it's on you, and that's both terrifying and freeing. You may still have moments where you wonder about them. You may still get that little pull in your stomach when their name pops up. This pivot doesn't erase your heart. It just stops letting your heart run the whole show. You start to see their behavior with clearer eyes. You look back and think, wait, I begged for basic respect. I settled for crumbs and called it love. I explained my pain to someone committed to misunderstanding me. That realization stings, but it also wakes you up. There's a quote that fits perfectly here. The day you stop fawning for love is the day you start finding yourself. When your silence has had time to mature, you slowly stop performing for their approval. You stop checking if they viewed your story like it's a test of your worth. You stop analyzing every emoji like it's a hidden prophecy. You shift from waiting for their moves to simply watching them. From a distance, calmly. Not as your source of happiness, but as a case study in what you will no longer accept. You notice things you used to ignore, how little effort their check-ins actually require, how inconsistent their attention really is, how their energy spikes when they're bored and disappears when they feel secure. You start to see patterns instead of potential. And once you see patterns, it's very hard to lie to yourself. Why is this stage difficult? Because part of you feels guilty for detaching. You think, does this mean I never loved them? Does this mean I'm cold now? No, it means you're healing. It means you're stepping out of emotional survival mode. It means you're learning that love does not have to feel like begging. You're not becoming heartless, you're becoming selective. You're not shutting down your feelings, you're refusing to let them be used against you. The old version of you needed their attention to calm your anxiety. The new version of you uses your own choices to calm your anxiety. Instead of asking, do they still want me? You start asking, do I even want someone who treated me like that? Instead of obsessing over their silence, you explore your own. In the quiet, you rediscover little things that fell away when you were busy chasing them, your hobbies, your friendships, your ambitions, your sense of humor that isn't tied to impressing anyone. You might notice your body relax in ways it hasn't in a long time, fewer knots in your stomach, less checking your phone in the middle of the night, more ability to focus on what you're doing right now instead of replaying old conversations like a loop. That's not you moving on too fast. That's your nervous system slowly realizing, we're safe now, we're not waiting at the edge of a cliff anymore. From this place, their behavior starts to lose its grip. Their hey doesn't hit the same. Their delayed replies don't send you into a spiral. Their attention feels smaller. Not because they changed, but because you did. When you were starving, crumbs looked like a feast. Once you start feeding yourself emotionally, you look at those same crumbs and think, is this really all you've got? This is the stage where you move from waiting to watching, not in a bitter, I hope you suffer kind of way, but in a detached, I see you clearly now way. You're no longer trying to read between the lines of every word they say. The lines themselves are enough. You honor what is, instead of clinging to what you wish it could be. That's maturity. That's Stoic clarity. And here's the beautiful twist. The calmer you get, the more chaotic it feels for them. The steadier you become, the more they feel the imbalance. The more you build a life that doesn't orbit them, the more they feel their own emptiness. That's not your goal, but it is often the byproduct. Your healing highlights their stagnation. Your peace exposes their patterns. Your new boundaries make their old behavior look as small as it always was. At this point, you no longer crave proof that your silence worked. You can sense it in the way they shift. You can see it in their attempts to pull you back into old roles. But you're not playing cast anymore. You're the director now, choosing what stories you allow into your life. So, my friends, if you feel that quiet internal click, if you know you're starting to turn away from the tracks and back toward yourself, I want you to honor that. You are not crazy. You are not cold. You are evolving. That inner pivot is your soul saying, it's my turn now. Write this affirmation in the comments right now. I choose myself first. Write it to make it real. Show yourself that you're serious about this new chapter. Show them, if they ever see it, that the version of you waiting at the door is gone. Show the world around you that you're not chasing closure. You're creating it. And stay with me, because next, we're going into what happens when they finally realize they can still feel you, but they can no longer reach you the way they used to. Number 7. When access is gone but presence remains. Nothing haunts the ego more than realizing they can still feel you, but no longer reach you. My friends, this is the part they never see coming. At the beginning, they were sure of themselves. They thought distance meant freedom. They thought walking away meant winning. They thought your silence was just a phase, something you'd snap out of once you missed them enough. They were confident that no matter what they did, they could always come back and find the same version of you waiting with open arms. But something happened while they were busy assuming. You changed. Quietly, slowly, deeply. Imagine your energy like a beautiful house they used to visit whenever they felt like it. They never paid rent. They never helped clean. Sometimes they slammed the door on their way out. But they always knew, if they knocked again, you'd open. One day, without a big announcement, you changed the locks. You didn't burn the house down, you just stopped giving out keys to people who treated it like a hotel. Now they come back to that same place in their mind, expecting the door to feel familiar, and it doesn't. They can still see the lights on, your glow, your growth, your peace, but they feel something they never expected to feel with you. Distance. Emotional distance. Spiritual distance. A gap they can't just charm their way across. They message you and your response is calm, not pouring. They test your reactions and your energy doesn't spike the way it used to. They throw bait and you don't bite. They feel your presence. You are still kind, still composed, still you, but the access they once had to your heart, your time, your mind, that's gone. And that's when regret stops being just a passing ache and becomes something sharper. There's a quote that fits this moment perfectly. They don't miss you. They miss the version of you they could control. What they feel now isn't just missing you, it's missing the control they once had over how you felt. Before, one text from them could shift your whole day. Now, you might smile, respond when it suits you, or not respond at all. Your world doesn't bend around them anymore, and that unsettles them more than you'll ever know. They start comparing. They remember how you listened without judgment, how you were patient with their moods, how you made them feel understood in ways they can't seem to find with other people. They look at the shallow conversations they have now and realize there was a depth with you that they didn't know how to value, so they took it for granted. They thought that depth would be waiting forever. Your silence proved it wouldn't. On your side, you feel the shift too. You notice how different you react now. The same message that would have had you overthinking for hours now barely grazes your mood. You might still care, but you're no longer controlled. You read what they say, and instead of asking, "How do I fix this?" you ask, "Does this even align with who I'm becoming?" That is power. Not loud, not cruel, not cold, just steady. This is where a lot of people secretly struggle. A part of you still remembers the old days, the comfort, the closeness, the chemistry. You're not a robot. You remember the good times, but now those memories are balanced with clarity. You no longer romanticize the past and ignore the pain. You see it all, the pattern, the disrespect, the emotional roller coaster, the way you lost yourself trying to keep them calm. And deep down, you know, if you gave them the same access again, you'd lose yourself again. So you don't. You keep the door gently closed, not slammed, not barricaded, just protected. For them, that's the real loss, not just losing someone to talk to, but losing the version of you who would bend, chase, overgive, and self-abandon. You've evolved out of their reach. They might still be spinning in the same old cycle, but you're not on that ride anymore. They can watch you, feel you, remember you, but they can't touch your peace. And that difference burns. It often hits them in random moments. They see a post of you laughing and realize they're no longer the reason for that smile. They hear your name and feel a twist in their chest because they're not the one who gets to call you anymore. They scroll past your picture and feel both drawn to you and shut out from you at the same time. It's like standing outside a warm house on a cold night, knowing they're the one who chose to walk out. And here's the beautiful part. You don't have to do anything extra for this to happen. You didn't manipulate. You didn't plot. You didn't play games. You simply healed. You simply chose yourself. You simply enforced the boundary your heart should have had from the beginning. If you cannot treat this love with care, you don't get to hold it. So my friends, if you're in that phase where they can still sense you but no longer truly reach you, don't let guilt drag you backwards. You're not being cruel, you're being honest. Honest about what you can and cannot allow back into your spirit. Honest about how much it cost you last time to keep that door open. Honest about the fact that love without respect is just slow heartbreak. You didn't close the door to punish them. You closed it to protect you, and that is not selfish, that is sacred. As we close this journey, I want you to remember something very clearly. The real win is not their regret. The real win is your rebirth. Their regret may come in waves, in whispers, in quiet nights where their mind won't leave you alone. But your rebirth is happening right now, in your choices, in your boundaries, in the way you're learning to live without shrinking yourself for anyone's attention. If this message reached a part of you that needed reminding of your strength, I want you to anchor it in your reality. Type this in the comments right now. My peace is protected. Write it for yourself. Show yourself that this isn't just content you're watching, it's a life you're choosing. Show them, if they ever see it, that the version of you they lost is not coming back. Show the world around you that you're done trading your sanity for temporary attention. And if this video spoke to your heart, do me a favor. Press the like button, share this with someone who needs to hear it, and subscribe so you don't miss the next message we build together. Stay with me on this journey, my friends. Your silence is not empty. It's the sound of you rising.